When people you know show up in your dreams, it helps you greatly with the interpretation. I'm going to demonstrate that with some of the dreams on today's show. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. We are so excited you are here with us.
Sandy's always excited. That's her default state. I have to live with that. And this is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you on your journey, because that's what it is. That's what dreams are. Very personal, on point, nail on the head communication that is telling you how close you are to achieving your life purpose, how out of alignment you are or are not, what your gifts are, how you're meant to use them, a whole ton of information. And we super sleuth our way through your dreams on this show. If you want to send your dream to the show, simply go to dream-analysis.com/podcast, fill in the form that's there, or email your dream to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. And everybody who sends dreams to the show gets a reply. You don't get a reply for all the dreams, but you will always get a reply. All right, Sandy, do we want to just dive straight into it?
Yeah, we've got a lot of fun dreams today, so I'm excited to dive in and see what you have to say. All right, so the first one is garage port and stud earrings, and it's from Tammy. Then I'm walking through a garage port. There are a few inches of water on the ground everywhere. I'm thankful I wore my boots. I'm with my daughter. I look to see if her Burberry trench is dragging, but it's not. It's tied up in the back. She doesn't wear Burberry in real life. There's a woman who picks up a piece of plastic from the ground and holds it up. It looks like a white flat trash bag. Yes, I ate candy with dairy in it. She's telling on herself. I think she must be cleaning her area. Good for her. The garage port feels sort of like it was a flea market earlier, too. Then I see a brown piece of paper with 3-4 sets of diamond stud earrings that get bigger as they go up. There's a price tag of $880. A woman is looking really close at them. She looks Asian. I think that's a really good price for the earrings, even for just a single pair. It is a great price. Ooh, I like the earrings, Michael.
I'm sure you do. Okay. So walking through a garage port, that's fine. There's a few inches of water on the ground everywhere. I'm thankful I wore my boots. So water represents life. I'm being glad that you wear something that stops you getting wet or stepping into life. It's like we know the dreamer is protective of some way. She says she's with her daughter. So it's a mother-daughter relationship. And that already tells us something. It's going to be about her mom. Of course, in the dream, she's the mom, but it's flipped. And then she looks to see if her trench is dragging, but it's not. So that's more protection. The boots and the trench coat will be about protecting. And then she says it's tied up in the back. So it being tied up in the back means that the restriction that this dream is dealing with is from the past. The fact that she's wearing Burberry, which she wears but her daughter doesn't wear, means that she's copied mom. Again, the dream shows it vicariously through her own relationship with her daughter. Then we have the flea market. And so I asked her about that, and she's like, yeah, I don't go to those places. There's a lot of energy there, and I kind of am afraid that I'm going to pick something up at one of those places. So this gives us a clue then that mom in some way has influenced her negatively to think and discard whole sections of areas in her life that could be beneficial for her. And indeed, that's what we see the rest of the dream is showing, like the brown piece of paper with the 3 to 4 sets of diamonds. That tells us the age. This happened around age 3 to 4. Mom did something that put her off the idea of communication with spirits, because we have the earrings. We know, if you listen to the show, that's about clairaudient channeling. And the dreamer is a clairaudient channel. That's how it works for her. So why would she have this dream after she can already channel? Well, she's trying to improve and she's taking clients and so on. So the dreams are then going to show you, here's the areas you need to clean up. And we see the cleaning up happening in the dream. So it's cleaning up for the issues that her mom influenced her with, negative ones at that age, which is really good. And she's seen the value of something that she dropped at that age. And so when I asked her about it, Basically I said, you limit your channeling from the age 4 due to experiences that cause you to protect yourself from picking up bad energy. Like there's something invisible that I don't want to get on myself, right? And she said, yeah, I hold myself back from spaces where I fear I could get infiltrated. Now, infiltration is something we're going to talk about in a later dream. And she could channel when she was younger, but she was told channeling is sorcery. So she dropped it. So then we see the negativity connected to a gift that is really a beautiful gift. The diamond stud earrings represent how beautiful that gift is. But because of mom's influence, she saw it in a negative way and then kind of like pushes it away. Is there anything else? I talked about the cleaning, people going through it. And it's like her in her life, she wouldn't even look at this. I wouldn't go near this space. But then it's like, look at what's found there. This beautiful set of earrings or sets of earrings with great value. And even she says one of them would have been really great to have. We have the Asian woman. The guides often in dreams show up as Asian for us Westerners. So the Asian woman who discovers these things is basically her guide showing her, look, there's value here. Go back and heal the issues at age 4 that cause you to hold back. So now, if she's got a connection or this idea in her mind that channeling is somehow connected with sorcery and she becomes a channel, well, you can see the conflict of energy that's already there when she's trying to channel for other people. So the dream is saying, look, this is where you picked up this rubbish and you need to clear it.
What about the 880?
Yeah, that's good for her heart. So it's feminine energy. The 8s they're also a symbol for cutting the ties that bind. So doing a therapy that will help her remove that negative influence that mom, let's say, inflicted on her. Now, mom wasn't trying to be mean or anything. This is a parent trying to help a child. But it still damaged her view of her gift. And that needs to be fixed. And most of the time, when we pick things up at ages where we would still believe in Santa or the Tooth Fairy, then we have no logical filter. We can't go back in our mind and think about it and go, oh, yeah, okay. It's just locked in. It got past and straight into the subconscious mind because the logical conscious mind wasn't there, wasn't strong enough. And so you typically have to do some work then to get that out because you can't think your way out of something with a brain you didn't have when you got the issue.
Okay, and then we've got a white flat trash bag.
Well, she admits that she was eating badly. And so there's a connection then. And this used to be true for me too. Fortunately, it's not anymore. I used to have to watch what I eat. Do you remember that? I would starve myself for long periods while I'm working. And so this dream is saying, look, what you eat impacts your channeling. So you have to eat healthy, eat clean before you channel. And this is good to know when you're trying to get good, when you're trying to improve yourself. Not that you wouldn't always be trying to improve yourself, but it's like give yourself all the assists you can give right at the start.
Interesting. That's great. What an amazing dream. All righty. You ready to move on?
Absolutely.
Okay. Our next one is Boxcar Children, and it's from Carrie. My daughter and I had seen a part of this show as a musical. Now we were somewhere on a porch similar to mom and dad's house, watching a group practicing the play. We observed their practice and then how they refined it for the performance. One was a makeshift train. Another had parts of a car put inside a trailer and it closed. Weirdest piece, in the concession area or gift shop, people were barefoot walking on wooden floor. If your foot was licked through the slit in the floor, then a CD or some music was handed up through that space too. I got 3 of them, but then left. It was kind of grossed out by it. That's funny, Michael.
It
having
is,
your
isn't
feet
it?
licked.
It's really quirky at the end. So my daughter and I, so this is again, who's in the dream? My daughter's in the dream. So it's about mother-daughter relationship. So it's going to be about her and her mom again. And then I'd seen part of this show as a musical. So that tells us it's about channeling again, because music comes from the spirit world. And we've covered this forever on the show, but music represents channeling. And then she says, now we're somewhere on a porch, waiting or watching a group practicing the play. We observe their, and so on. So this is like, I like to prepare for things before I do them. almost to the point of like, I want to recall my life planning for this before I do it. So this lady does a lot of prep, lot of prep, lot of prep. So if she's going to meet a client for an hour, she's probably going to practice and try to get into the right frame of mind for about 8 hours before she meets them, or maybe even longer. And that's no good. So this is one of the things she has to drop, this stepping back and looking at life and anticipation and having anxiety around how am I going to be when it's my turn to perform? Because this is all practicing before the performance and practicing and refining and practicing and refining. We also see, she says, we observe, so we know that she's stepped back from life. I look at life from the outside, really, even her own life. People who have this issue with mom, they are looking at their own life from the outside, not really fully living it, like in their head, watching themselves as they go through life. She then says, one was a makeshift train, another had a car put inside a trailer and it was closed. So digestive system issues or elimination system issues here. We see the wooden floor later on that backs that up. So we know that that's true. But there's a car inside a trailer and it is closed. So it's like extra sets of shutters, let's say, closed in. So I really hold back from life. This is what this part is really emphasizing. And then we have the part that everybody's wondering about, the gift shop. So this is going to be about her gift, and we see the musical CDs and all that sort of stuff again. So we know it's channeling. It sticks with that theme, and it's a nice short little dream. I really like it. And of course, I had to channel on what on earth is this tongue through the slits of the floor. So it's basically saying that when she's grounded, because she's barefoot, walking barefoot in this part of the dream, and normally I would say that's negative. But they said in this dream, what it's about is being grounded. So when I'm grounded, I get information handed to me through my channeling. And that's what the being licked through the floor is. Like I'm going to be able to say, because the tongue is involved, I'm going to be able to say what I got and share it with people. And so I get into this kind of a flow state and it's really good. But I don't like the preparation before the flow state. So, or I should say, I don't like that she does all this preparation before the flow state. So there's the anticipation, but she still gets it working. And then, she says she's grossed out by it. But flow comes to her when she's really grounded. That's what it means. Isn't it funny?
What does 3 mean, though? She's got 3 of them and then left 3 of the CDs.
So again, that's going to be an age. I need to fix something from a young age. And it's age 3. But 3 is also to do with commitment. But she doesn't commit in this dream. So it isn't that. Numbers mean a few different things. So here it has to be an age 3. It's like I dropped this at age 3, like the previous dream. And these are different dreamers. But we see a lot of similarity in dreams that are about the same things. And indeed, that's how George came up with this whole system, helping people through hypnosis deal with phobias and traumas and various other things. And he noticed that their dreams of people who had similar issues had similar symbols. And it just intrigued him, and he investigated, and this system was born. So it's not surprising where we see somebody who has a similar issue from a similar age with the same parent, and it's showing up in the dreams this way.
All righty. That's cool. Next dream, finding our way. And this is from Michelle. Jude thanking Chris, my friend's son, for helping us traverse through the most difficult, convoluted part of London. I was thinking, he grew up in New York City. He knows city navigation.
Wouldn't get you through London. London is, like other European cities, it's not set out in a grid. Anyway, so this is the theme of what we wanted to cover on today's show. So we see Chris, her friend's son. So I said, okay, here's Chris, describe him. And her answer is that Chris is a very grounded person, very calm, an engineer, artist, and carpenter, very confident in his abilities. So we know that he's representing that or trying to rub those traits off on her in the dream. That's what the dream is trying to do. Like give her confidence, have her calm down. And the capital city, London, any capital city is about the mind. So it's trying to calm her mind. So the dream is asking her to calm her mind by accepting that she is an expert at what she does. And she is. But this is true for a lot of people who are amazing at a particular thing. They undervalue themselves, or they lack confidence, or they feel like they're an imposter. Now, she doesn't have it as bad as that. But a lot of people think, well, I wouldn't have these feelings about myself if I really was that good. And what I've noticed over the years is you're more likely to have those feelings if you are really good and you are very unique and amazing at what you do. So don't let the feelings put you off. Anyway, that's what it's trying to get her to do, and basically saying, look, if you, because she works with people, helping people understand their mind and so on. So when I channeled on it, the guide said, look, if you don't get through to a person, nobody can get through to a person. So don't worry about it. Like, that's how good you are. If you can't do it, nobody can do it. And it's a nice way to be told it. Now, it's not necessarily, oh, I believe this is 100%. But if you can think about it that way, then it's going to make you feel better when you're doing the work, because you're doing the work anyway, right? And you are helping the people anyway, but you're just beating yourself up because you think I could do a better job. And that is probably this person's biggest issue, that she really wants to solve everything in a person's life, everything. And we had a long conversation about how it's important when you're helping somebody to really be stepped back and not be tied into the outcome. Like, I need this outcome for this person. Why on earth would you need an outcome for another person? They need the outcome. You don't need the outcome. And so you need to stay back and help, but in your best space, and also not with projecting your energy into their space, because then that leaves you vulnerable, especially if you're working in the spiritual field, because you've come out of your own sovereign space into somebody else's space. And I think that's something we're going to talk about later, because we're going to talk about infiltration. Sandy, any comments? It's a tiny little dream with tons to talk about.
Yeah. What is the city navigation? So she knows how to navigate certain things?
Her specialty is the mind, understanding the mind, and helping people understand the loops that they catch themselves in, or negative thought patterns and destructive self-speak. Like, that's what she's really, really good at.
Wow, that's amazing. What a gift. Alrighty, and then what does London represent?
Well, London being a capital city is going to represent the mind too. Any capital city will represent that. But for her, it's a special place because her daughter lives there, and her daughter calls frequently saying, the house is on fire. What do I do? You know, there's always a problem. Not the house, of course, but major stuff. And so London represents that kind of chaos. I can't control it. So it represents that chaos that's that the dream is saying, look, this is what you need to calm.
Ah, got it. That's cool. Alrighty, moving on. Next one, drag show, question mark, and it's from Julie. Extended family reunion or get together. I somehow always missing the food, only getting a small amount because other things were happening. A big ballroom and many drag queens there. Julie and Laverne Cox were friends. Laverne did an amazing set with a gymnastic flair and then a costume quick change into a pantsuit. Wow. That's it, Michael. That's your dream.
All right. So the first part is very straightforward. And again, is part of the theme of the show. How is it when we know the people in the dreams, it helps us understand the dream. So the first part anyway, just to get that out of the way, she wasn't eating well. The dreamer wasn't eating well because she said, I was doing too much and I was skipping food. So the first part, I was somehow always missing the food. That's saying, look, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be looking after yourself too. So we can skip past that. And then we get to the big ballroom with many drag queens there. So we know she's the spiritual leader because of the drag queens. But let's focus on Laverne. We can ignore the other ladies, her daughter. But Laverne is a transgender woman who is also an accomplished actress. Now I had to ask her, who's Laverne? And she told me that. And so how the people in your dream help you understand it, I asked her, what do you think of Laverne? And she said, I think she's amazing. She stepped into what is true for herself and accomplished things amidst outside pressure, societal pressure that may not always be accepting of who she knows she is. And so I channeled on that because it's not about my view or anybody else's. It's about the dreamer's view. And so knowing who Laverne is and knowing what she thinks about Laverne in that positive way is really important. And what her guide said was she can just be who she is. You don't have to tell everyone who you used to be, and you won't have all the same pressures. If Laverne didn't tell anyone, this is the way they described it, if Laverne didn't tell anyone she's transgender, there would be no societal pressure on her. And internally for her, for the dreamer, she has to kill the feeling that she has to take on the whole system to be who she is. She can just be who she is what they're saying. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or doesn't think, just be who you are. And when I was explaining that to her, she said this really hits home around her husband and her daughter. She's allowed him to grow. He's now in a different career than he was before, and he changed career before again. But she doesn't allow herself to grow. Like, he always expects her to be the certain way, and she is always that way. And in channeling, they told her, look, you can be two people. Be who you are in your family and be who you are outside your family. And you don't have to pull one into the other. I love the simplicity of it. You know, Laverne's able to do it. Laverne was able to like be in public, in the public eye, be criticized and still achieve everything. And then the dreamer thinks that she should be able to do something like that. And they're like, no, you don't have to do it. You don't have to go and do everything in front of everybody else and take on the whole world so that you can be who you are. Just be who you are in the two different spaces. It's still you. Quite interesting.
Very interesting. I like the gymnastic flair and then a costume quick change. Is there anything in that?
Uh,
Or is it?
yeah, the costume quick change is like you have two roles. So here with
Ah,
Laverne dressed as a woman and then a pantsuit, you know, it's quite cool to see that. Like, you can do this. And the guide in the dream, because Laverne's a guide in the dream, is showing you, look, this is okay.
I like that. That's cool. And that's easy for some people to do, but to kind of do that, you have to practice, don't you?
With everything. And a lot of the time, though, you actually have to work on yourself. So the practice might not be enough. It depends on how young you were when you picked up the issues. But I think in this one, it's just like, no, I just need to give myself the permission. Practice isn't, therapy isn't needed.
Perfect. All righty. Moving on. The next one, vacation house with many others, and that's from Marie. In a shared house, openish floor plan, windows along the back. Preparing food, there were many in the kitchen. A young girl was prepping. I said to my husband, oh, are you teaching her to cook? He said, yes, roasted tomatoes. The girl tipped the bowl to drain some water, but accidentally tipped it towards the floor instead of the sink. She continued on with what she was doing.
All right. So this is simple elimination system issues. But we see the people in the dream, husband and daughter. So we'll get it into the next part, how this dream interprets itself because of the two people who were in the dream at this particular point. But anyway, elimination system issues. And people know this. It's like, yeah, I'm guilty. I ate things I know I'm not meant to eat. And we can get away with it for a long time. But eventually our dreams are saying, look, you just got to cut this out and that out.
All righty. Tomatoes, bad. I agree. I said, you'll need to get some paper towels to clean that up. She just looked at me. I got the towels and came back, but she had left. I told my husband she needs to clean that up. He sort of dismissed me and started to do it himself. I said, no, she needs to. It's about character. I had walked away angrily, not wanting to see what he chose to do. I was thinking about how he brushed aside anything that was required of my daughter.
All right. So right at the start, we know who's in. We know who's in the dream. She knows who's in the dream, and she knows the emotion that this is bringing up, and that's what it's about. So her husband lets their daughter away with everything. That's the way she says it, and this frustrates her to no end. So come back to our theme of how the people in the dream help you with the interpretation. The people in the dream make this interpretation obvious. Like, couldn't be clearer because of what they're doing. He tells her to leave it to him because he insists, but then he doesn't reel her in. And because of that, she feels like he is destroying her character. There's certain things you need to be able to do in life, and she's not getting to learn them because he's defending her and she's not able to step in. So I channeled on this, said, okay, now we know what it is. What's the solution? And they said, abdicate it to your husband and leave it. Don't punish yourself. So when you see her with failed character, as she puts in the dream, you can't step in and address it with her because you're not allowed. He's going to step in, all that other stuff. And it's not even if he's not there, there's a dynamic there that ruins that. So you can't do it. Don't bother taking on something you can't solve. But what you can do is to just leave it to him. So you see her with an issue, abdicate it to him. He's got to solve it. Now you don't go make him solve it. You just have to let it go. That's all you need to do because your daughter is a grown woman. So you don't need to follow her around and tell her, hey, you need to pick up that and you need to do this and you need to do the other. So basically, what the dream is showing is that she is upsetting herself with thinking about her daughter when she needs to drop it. And they're telling her to drop it by just saying, that's all up to him. I'm leaving it to him.
And for sure, her daughter is a grown woman.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh
She's
my
in her
goodness.
she's in her 20s, 25 or 6.
Okay, more of the dream. At some point, I was alone in the house. It was sort of a theme park place. We were in the Princess Bride theme area. Ooh, I like that. At the corner window were three men on horses. Wesley Indigo Montoyo. I'm sorry, I love it. And the man with the six-fingered hand, who I thought was named D'Artagnan. They were miming. They were there to take me down. I mimed back. I see you. I'll take you down. I then went to make sure the doors were locked. I went into the kitchen towards the back door, and there was a woman wearing blue clothes on the floor laughing. I said, "Who are you? Are you Kathy, Jean's sister?" Yes. And then more people were coming in, unbeknownst to me. Jean had invited all of her sisters over to stay. Jean had been one of the original people in the house. If I had known, I would have left that weekend so they'd have more room. But now there were even more people coming. They were excited to play along with the actors that were roaming around. I didn't know how or where everyone was going to sleep. Now, Michael, is that the same dream as the first part? That's unique.
It is. So we see the men on horseback. So we know they're guides because they're tall. And they're also actors. So we know she's a channel too. So we know she's a hands-on healer because horses and dreams represent that. Hands also represent that in dream. And we see a person pointed out with a six-fingered hand. So a special hand. I have a special hands is really what the dream is saying. Now you go back to the start of the dream and the husband was teaching someone how to cook. And cooking is another symbol for hands-on healing. So it is the same dream because of those connections. But then it kind of goes into this on purpose. The dreamer is actually infiltrated. I didn't know it, but this dream revealed it. And I cleared her when we were doing this dream analysis. She knows Jean through another group. So when I tuned in and I asked, "Oh, is Jean dark or not?" Because we see people in the house that shouldn't be there, and that she didn't invite them in, and there they are. And that's a really bad thing to see in your dreams. So that's why I tune in and go, okay, is Jean dark or not? She is. And once a dark person gets in, they can invite other people. So if you let someone into your space, into your sovereign space, they can invite other negative spirits into your sovereign space. And that's really what this dream is showing. So use it as a teaching moment. The dreamer knows Jean from a group she is in. Jean is dark. Dark people join groups to get access to the facilitator's clients, a client base who is willing to open up because they trust the facilitator, and a facilitator who is not experienced enough or discerning enough to make sure that nobody dark is in the group. And this is also important. People who are dark are never going to tell you. That would be very stupid, and they are not stupid. But you can quickly ask your guides if someone is dark. For instance, I never join a group that my guides say to avoid. It's that simple and easy. Now, while a dark person will not tell you they are dark, some of them give themselves away by saying things like, "You never need to protect yourself. That's just nonsense." And a green person in a new group who doesn't know any better is somewhat relieved by hearing that. And so you have to ask yourself, who benefits from someone telling you to keep your guard down that is not needed? Who? Well, definitely not you is the answer. Right. Do you have questions about the dream or comments on what I just said, Sandy?
Oh my God, I've got so many. Okay, so you covered the first line of the dream up to the three men and horses, six hands. And then this is where it gets crazy. They were miming that they were going to take me down.
Yes. So
Is that a big clue?
yeah, they are her guides and they're showing her what's going on. And they're trying to lift her spirits up. And so that's the connection with the first part of the dream. She gets down when she has the issues with her daughter and her husband and so on. And you have to be super careful about your energy. You're the one responsible for your own energy space. And careful about your thoughts. So if you let yourself spiral down, that's a really good place to get into if you want to get infiltrated, especially if you don't know how to protect yourself. And we know, they're at the window, which is a source of light, and they're tall. So lots of things tell us that these are good people. And look at the first person that she comes across in the dream who's negative. What does she say? She went back to the kitchen door. There was a woman wearing blue on the floor laughing. Like, you couldn't be lower than lying down on the floor. So these are negative people, very low vibration. And then you have the guides outside the window, up on a horse, really tall. I mean, who's going to sit in a horse outside your window? That would be, you wouldn't even see their heads. They'd be that high. But yeah, so the fact that there's people in the dream that shouldn't be there, they're shown to be low vibration by the placement. And also, she doesn't even know who they are.
Right. Who are you? Yeah, that's what she said. And then more people coming on, and she had invited all of her sisters to stay.
So really what we need to do is kick them out. So you go back into this dream and you just clear them out. You bring in one of those men on their horse even, and have the horse kick them out.
I like the Princess Bride theme area, though. That's great. That was a fun movie. Okay, anything else that you should add about this? Because, like, you're saying that she got lower vibration by being dragged down by the dynamic going on, and that is what allowed this to happen?
That is what allows it to happen for her. It's
Okay.
true for all of us. Negative thoughts, being down, and usually when you get infiltrated, they want to pull you down. They make you feel down. I know this one personally too, and it can be a struggle to fight yourself to fight the negative thoughts and get yourself into a really positive frame of mind. And the more positive a frame of mind you get, the easier it is to clear yourself, or for someone else even to clear you if you don't know how to do it yourself. Yeah, so it's like lift yourself up, be positive about things in life. And, so she probably loves this movie. So them showing up this way is going to pick her spirits up too.
Right. That's great. Very interesting dream how it took the turn and actually gave her the answer to help her with anything like this going on, any type of attack like this. Well, I think that's all we have time for. These were fun and interesting dreams, I thought, Michael. Do you have anything you want to add?
That is it. I enjoy the show, but then I enjoy every show, and I'm like, oh, this one's going to be great. And we can never tell what the reaction's going to be. But if you do enjoy the show, please share it with your friends. Like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening to it. That helps us and helps us with the algorithm. But we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.